Ken, how's it going there? Right on time.
Yeah, how you doing?
I cannot complain. Am I getting you from the Vegas area?
The Reno, Nevada.
Even better, even better. And aside from the world blowing up at the moment, everything is fine by you?
Absolutely, yeah, we're surviving.
I'm glad to hear that, to say the very least. And cutting straight into it here, when you're talking to a Hall of Famer in most professions, it's usually somebody who's at the end of their rope, whose better days are behind them. And in your case, it's not that way. It looks like, man, what is this guy still going to accomplish in the next 20, 30 years? Did you have initial hesitation to becoming a Hall of Famer in any of your activities?
I never really thought about um, that, but obviously, when I was going into the UFC or even into professional wrestling, um, your first thought is when you're doing something that you want to be the best and you want people to always remember you by the things that you do. And so that was kind of my motivation in everything that I did, even as a father or as a husband. I failed miserably, early on because I didn't understand. But in my mind, I didn't want to fail at anything. And so when I had my second marriage, obviously I did much better, in a much better spot, learned from my mistakes and got better at it. So I think me as a person, physically as a person, my character, is that I don't want to be less. I want to make sure that I do everything as best as I can and be better all the time, no matter what it's in.
Right. And you're just very hard to define, and that's really intended to be a compliment. Again, UFC Hall of Famer, wrestling, now a Hall of Famer because of impact, entrepreneur. I want to ask you later about managing talent, which I know you do. Plus, you've acted in a ton of stuff. Is there really a way that you like to be defined or thought of?
Yeah, and and again, people ask the question, if you were to die, what would you want your legacy to be? And I think that it's hard as an individual to kind of for yourself to kind of characterize who you are, right? Because we see ourselves differently as most people see us. So it's kind of difficult, right? But for me, if I was looking at somebody and the things that you would want to be remembered as is that when people actually look at me in the UFC or in the pro wrestling, was that they looked at a guy that gave everything, that went out there and performed at his highest level, and also too with the thought in their mind that we're still human. I mean, we're still the same kind of people that they are. Like we bleed red, we breathe the same air, we eat the same foods, and we make the same mistakes. And as long as that we can all look at that and have some expectations of who we want to be and how we want to be remembered, that's what it would be. Is that I tried to give it all and tried to be a good person, but at the same time I wanted to be the very best at what I did. And along with all the mistakes that are made during those times, you try to siphon through all that and hopefully you find that character that you would want your children to be like, to always strive to be better.
You just mentioned that we all eat the same foods, but I think people who watch you on Impact see what shape that you are in. And I don't think you're eating the same foods as everyone else. Has diet always been a really, really strict thing for you?
I think it's not the diet, it was more commitment. I think too much attention is paid to, the things that really, in my opinion, are the things that you would work on the side because everybody's different. But I think that the common factor for everyone, if they want to be in shape like I am at 56, going on 57 years old and still going like I'm going, is commitment. You have to have commitment to continue to keep going because I'm telling you, there's many, many days that I don't want to go to the gym, that my body's sore because I don't recover as fast. And you got to go. You just got to go, because you know if you stop one day, it'll end up in 2 days. Next thing you know, you're looking at 10 years that you haven't trained. So it is really about the commitment. The diet, all the other stuff comes as you start doing all of that and you start putting different things into place that more modified for your body type. But I really do believe that the common denominator that all of us have, if you want to stay in shape, if you want to be great, or if you want to achieve the goals that you set yourself up for, is that it's commitment. You've got to be committed.
And we were set up to talk about your bare knuckle company, which immediately got a lot of acclaim and people watching it. Of course, everything's on hold, but where's it all at?
Yeah, we did our first show. It was definitely a huge success. But again, like when I talk about the commitment and the wanting to be the best, it goes into the same thing. And when we went to put on our second show, we didn't have the best. There were things that were coming up that were stopping us from doing what we needed to do. We could have went ahead and just put the show on and just gone with the way that the things were set up. But because of the commitment that I have and that the Valor team has, we didn't want to put something out that we felt wasn't going to be Valor Bare Knuckle. And so we ended up having to cancel that show because it wasn't what we thought would be better than what we put on before. And so now we're building a platform, we're building our systems, we're putting all the stuff in place to be able to grow as a company successfully. And I think so many people try to push things out because they're afraid of what people might say or what might happen. So they put out something less than what they think is going to be good just to put it out so they can say they did it. That's not us, and that's not me. We are going to put out what we believe is going to be the best product, the best thing that we can produce. And if it doesn't happen, then we will make changes to make sure it happens. And that's where we're at right now, is that we're building our company. We're putting all the pieces in place so we don't run into any issues going further down the road, and making sure that we're there and understanding what the times are calling for. So when we launch this next time, you'll see a lot of changes. You'll see a lot of different angles and opportunities that you'll have with Valor, because we see the future and we see what's coming. And so therefore we're going to build our company to be able to access the opportunities that we see coming in the future with the way things are changing.
I like that you guys let the Schmo be the Schmo. Or did you actually have to coach him a little bit to be more Schmo-like?
No, we got the Schmo because of Schmo. And when you try to go in, and I think that's a mistake even in fighting or anything else you do, you try to tell people to kind of act a certain way or do this or do that. And it takes away from the purity of who they are. And that's what made them great to get there. So, I mean, we let him be him. That was all him. There was no coaching. He went out and did what he needed to do the things that made him who he is today.
Something that blew my mind last year when I read it was that you manage Mauro Ranallo. Do you manage other people besides Mauro?
No, I don't. I mean, the last time I really managed was Lions Den. I don't. Yeah, it's been so long since I've ever done any of that stuff because, one, you have to, I feel, just like we talked about before, that you got to be committed and you want to do your very best, especially in that situation. You're handling other people and their careers rely on what decisions that you make. And I don't have that chance. I don't have the time to do that, to be able to really successfully be able to do that. I did it early on only because I was in it and I was training and everybody was there with me. And then later on, I did it after I was out. But the way that things are today, it's just so hard to get people to commit to hard training because everybody wants to put people on these shows, and all these guys want to go and fight, but they don't want to train to get there. And when I'm saying training, I mean like hard training, like putting 6 months to a year in training before you start to go out and do any fights. A lot of these guys will step in and have 2 months under their belt, and they just want to get in there and do it. And some of these venues will let them fight. So therefore, you have no control of being able to have guys hold out for a while to prepare them to fight. So the way the landscape is right now, it would be hard for me to manage people because it's too easy to get fights. and guys want to take shortcuts. And so I want guys to be, training hard and getting prepared for fights. And sometimes you're not able to do that because it's too easy to go out and get a fight and only train a month. So getting into the fighting part of it, which is the valor and the management part of it, I feel like I can really do things I love to do, which is, one, be a part of a fight community and be a part of a fight league and be able to, almost in a sense, be able to help people follow their dreams and be able to achieve their dreams, be able to present something where they can go out and fight and achieve success within this bare knuckle organization if they put in the hard work. And I don't have to worry about that. All I know is that I get guys that I know are committed, guys that have experience behind them and know their record, and be able to put them out there and let them go out and just be able to follow that opportunity that they've been given. So I love the bare knuckle, and I think that, in my opinion, is the future. However it looks, I don't know what it looks like yet, but I believe that is the future.
You're so good at what you do, you just answered my next two intended questions and topic areas. So I'll ask you two more things, and then you're a free man. And the first one is, usually I ask people within the athletic space what they like to do when they're not training for a fight, when they're not working and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any surprising hobbies outside of fighting and stuff relating to fighting?
Well, I don't know if they're surprising, but, I love playing golf. Haven't had a chance to really play a whole lot of it, obviously. But I enjoy it. It's a fun time to go out there, hit the ball, be competitive, but yet still have fun at it, not get too competitive. But it's fun, and play it as long as I'm healthy. And I enjoy being out in the weather. I go out with my wife. Me and the kids have gone out, the family, and played with 4 different groups. We had 4 different groups with the family, and go out and play a par 3 courses and have fun with them. And it's a great time. It's fun. At the same time, there's a lot of teaching going on with competitiveness, honor, discipline, that are all hidden within that game. Especially when you're playing with your family and your children, and them seeing how you respond and to do different things. So it's a fun way in life to be able to have fun. At the same time, there's a lot of teaching and discipline going on. The other thing is, I think that I'm a real big on, because I travel so much, because I do a lot of travel. My vacation or my time is staying home and visiting with my grandkids and my kids. And the most important thing to me are the holidays, because there's big dinners and stuff that we all go to and we get to spend time together. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So it's not show tunes or musical theater that occupies your free time?
No. No, I love movies, so I am a big movie buff. I love going to movies. I love taking my grandkids and my kids whenever we have a chance to go to the matinee. Get some popcorn. I know it's bad for your diet, but you splurge every now and then.
Exactly. So in closing, any last words for the kids?
Yeah, I think in life there's so much attention to being paid to, the chaos that is going on in the world. And I think a lot of times, even as teenagers and college students, we get caught up in this, how do you put it, trying to do the right thing, or backing and saying and speaking up and standing out. And I believe that you need to do that. But what you do also need to remember is that, don't do it to a point to where it's going to damage the rest of your life. In anything in life, you got to stand up for what you believe in and to be able to help other people. But at the same time, you also make sure that you're true to yourself and your family, so that you don't put yourself in a situation where you could damage you and your family for quite some time. So enjoy life, have fun, be committed to what you do, and stand up for what you believe in, just as long as it's not going to damage you in the future.
I couldn't have said it any better than that, but really appreciate your time here and hope to see you live in New York in some form in the very near future.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.